Good afternoon, FLOSSTUBE.
I'm Little One.
And I'm Lynette here at Homesteading on the Home Front. This is episode number 62. It is Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, which means we are one day short of 3 months since our last video. So that was not meant to happen. I found out the Friday before school was supposed to start that my services would be needed. So I have been teaching remotely and in person and hybridly and all of that good stuff, and been crazy busy because of it. So that's why you haven't seen us. Hopefully another 3 months won't go by before you see us again. I am supposed to be done at Christmas break, so fingers crossed. I love the kids. I do not love teaching hybrid. All right, so lots to talk about because we have been stitching in 3 months.
You more than me.
Well, you have some finishes. Mm-hmm. Do you want to show your finishes?
Sure. So this one, Little House Needleworks Kitty Cottage Sampler, was finished probably only a few days after the last FLOSSTUBE. I changed the color of the cat to match our newest cat, Misty.
Mm-hmm. Is that the only change you made?
I think so.
And how are we finishing this?
No idea.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't thought about it since I finished it. This is Lizzie Kate's Be Who You Are. I was going to start this for my birthday, and I finished it not a few days ago.
I was going to say, it's, yeah. How long has it been? A while? A week? I don't know.
I can't tell because the mirror is cracked.
You're perfect. You're perfect in the frame.
Yeah. I don't think I made any changes to this one. I think I just stitched it.
That unintentional personalization with the spacing of the lines.
Oh, yeah. I've made several mistakes, but it looks fine.
Yep.
And then this one I think I started it a few days ago.
It was quick. You
yeah,
did that
Little
one
House
quick.
Needleworks Hot Cocoa.
Yeah, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we doing with this one?
We'll probably make it into a pillow or an ornament or something.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Those are my FOs.
So my turn for FOs. Mm-hmm. Okay, so last we chatted, this was a plan to be started for the Mayflower voyage. When was that? Like September 9th or something?
I no clue.
So do I have a picture?
I'm still learning about the French Revolution.
I don't think I have a picture of what this is supposed to look like because I just have my working copies. But this is Mayflower Rose Ornament. And I started it on September 9th and finished it on, I think it was the 11th when they landed. I personalized down here with the dates, miscounted, so they're closer together than I wanted, but that's okay. The ship is all over one, and that was not fun. But I think this is going to be made into an ornament as well. All right. I don't know what order I stitched these in. Oh, I can show you this one. This one's a big one. Haven't done a thing with it. It's not even ironed. It's just been shoved in the bag. But may I present
I'll get out of the
Savior's Praise. Is it back enough? Ooh.
No,
It's a big one. So I did a lot of personalization to this one, mainly because I have a frame that it's going to fit in, and I had to make it a little shorter. And then I discovered, after this was mostly stitched, that it's not an even weave. It's 18... I think it's like 17 stitches in one direction and 18 in the other, or 18 in one direction and 19 in the other. I forget what it was. But anyway, long story short, I actually had to cut off more of the bottom than I thought I would originally have to when I did the math. I thought at first I did math incorrectly and I was going to be embarrassed, but then I actually counted and realized that it was not an even weave. So, my first intentional personalization was that we started this on Easter Sunday, so I put the 3 crosses in the urn. And then the words, where are they? Some of these words in the margin, I changed them up to, so they would be the fruits of the Spirit. So all of the fruits of the Spirit are in the margin. And then the verse, obviously, is very different. This was our wedding hymn, so that's why I chose that. And because it was our wedding hymn, I put the initials of our attendants here, so they would exist in perpetuity. Mm-hmm. And then, other than cutting off, I think that's most of the personalization. I had to leave out some stuff, but I really liked this house, so I moved it over here to this side rather than in the margin on the other side. And I think that's it. So I can't wait to get this one stretched, laced and framed. I have no idea where it's going to hang, but it was a fun stitch. I originally wanted to get it done in time for our fair this year, and then we know that no fairs happened. So I took my time on it, and I didn't finish it until sometime in November. And then once that was done, what did I work on? I worked on this one next, I think. So this, I had, everyone did this last year, right? And so I wanted to do it because some of you who have been watching know that my oldest daughter loves horses. And so I customized it because all of the horses in her life are chestnut. So that's what it looks like. I did my own color conversion. What did we use here? We used, appropriately enough, we used chestnut from Victorian Motto. The blue was Old Jeans from Nina's Threads. The green was Spring Grasses. And I have no idea what the red was because it's not in here anymore. So I must have taken it for some other project. I don't know what that was. But anyway, I don't know how it's going to be finished. Probably will not be finished in time for Christmas this year, but I do like how that came out. Mm-hmm. And that was stitched on, this is a scrap of vintage country mocha that I cut off from the piece that I'm using for One Nation. And it's Ada, it's 20 count, and I am just loving stitching on this 20 count Ada. All right, and then I'll talk more about it later, but we had a very small retreat in November at East Hill Farm in New Hampshire. It was fantastic, but that's all I'm going to say for now. And so I decided this would make a great retreat piece because it's on an actual working farm and they do have sheep. And I've wanted to stitch this one for a while. So I started it at East Hill and then I finished it probably a week later. And I got the idea for the blue because the original design here is punch needle, and it was, I think, somewhere I had seen it. Either it was called for to have a blue background or somebody had punched it with a blue background. And so I wanted that, and I really, really like how this came out. Now, again, there's lots of unintentional personalization, but nobody would know by looking at it. I think there were two problems with this piece. Number one, I am pretty sure that this is an old piece of Weeks, which is terrible to stitch on. The other problem was that in order to get the coverage I needed, I had to use 2 strands of floss, and I just don't like using 2 strands of floss. So I'm glad it's done. It's beautiful, but I won't stitch it again on this fabric. I would like very much to stitch it again on, in fact, oh, it's on the floor over there. We just found a piece of Ada that's in a pretty blue that I think it would look good on. So I may stitch it again. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there through my finishes. So then I had finished that, and I had gotten, as did everybody when it came out, right? Winter Rose Manor. I've been chomping at the bit for this one. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for it. And so finally it came out, but I wanted to make sure that my colors were right. So I still haven't found a color for the house. The call for is conch, or conch, or however you say it. Every shop that I've contacted says that their batch of conch is now tan. There's no pink in it. And I very much wanted it to look like this. So, might have done a little damage on Black Friday, but I think I have a couple of possibilities coming for this. So, in the meantime, I figured I would stitch the pin keep and test out the colors that I had and see how they went. In fact, this red maple right here that I used might have been the red that I used in the horse. Just guessing, but it could have been. So anyway, this is what my pin keep looks like. I really like the way that it came out, but I do think I'll be changing up at least one of the greens when I stitch the actual Winter Rose Manor. Again, I have no idea how this is going to get finished, but it's pretty and I really like it. And I figured this doesn't scream Christmas to me. It's more wintry, and yes, it's got Christmas colors, but I intend to leave this up all winter long. So I figured I could stitch on it all winter long as well. So I'm not in a rush to like start it or finish it before Christmas. Got to get my threads first, right? All right, so finally, last one. So the story with this was I had loaded the 22 count. It's heart hanger because I mentioned I've been loving stitching on the 20 count Ada. So I said, oh, I'll see how I like 22 count. And so the project that I was supposed to stitch on it was a very detailed Santa from an old issue of a Better Homes and Gardens Christmas project magazine. And I started stitching on it, and in fact, maybe I can undo it and show you. Yeah. I started stitching right here. And I don't know if you can tell, but when I back stitched, it just looks too thick. The one strand, the original project was on 14 count, and they used 3 strands of floss to stitch it. So when you back stitch with 1 strand, it looks thin in comparison to all the stitches. Well, here, this is 22 count, so I only used 1 strand to stitch, which the coverage was great. But then when I went to back stitch, it was too much. So I decided that project was going to have to wait, because even on 20 count Ada, I think the back stitching is not going to look right. So I need to wait and see. I'm not sure that the coverage on like a 38 count linen, I'm not sure that the coverage with 1 strand is going to be good. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that project. It's been waiting for years. It'll stay there. So anyway, again, Black Friday, I found the Stitch Patterns shop on Etsy. Basically, Etsy was having a sale, and you could search just items that were on sale. So I searched cross-stitch charts or cross-stitch patterns or whatever, and every cross-stitch chart that was on sale came up. And one of the ones that I found was from the Stitch Patterns. It was a group of 3. So it had a red gnome, a green gnome, and then a Merry Christmas project. And so I started and finished the red gnome. And I just think he is so adorable. So I don't know if I'm going to stitch the green one. I was thinking what I might do is restitch this one, but instead of red and gray, I may use maroon and gold colors because those are our school colors. So I don't know, but I think I have just enough room down here to stitch another one. And so that may be what I'm doing. All right, while I get these straightened up, you want to talk about your whip, your one and only?
Yes, I started this afternoon in between school assignments because I wanted to have a whip to show. This is just something I picked up on a freebie table at one of the retreats I've gone to. And which way is up? I've got that much done. Not a whole lot, and it's going to be a small ornament, so I'll have to switch out this needle minder. But, yeah.
And do you have any plans, anything that you're going to stitch on after the 3 days that you'll finish that in?
I'm just going to find another Christmas ornament because I feel like doing that.
I've been feeling like Christmas too. Mm-hmm. All right, so I only currently have 2 whips, and at least one of them will be carried over into the new year. The other, I don't know, I may decide I want to just stitch on it and finish it up so I don't have to carry it over. I don't know. We'll see. The one that is definitely going to be carried over is One Nation. And when I started this on July 4th, my goal was to do 1 star and 1 state a week so that I could finish it in a year. And I am happy to say that I am on schedule. We are stitching on 20 count vintage country mocha. Let's see what colors I'm using. I think it's the called for. Cherry cobbler and blacksmith blue. So, and then for the white, I'm just using a sulky. So, I think I actually have extra stars stitched. Of course, now it's December, so I can catch up again, or I can start on the December 4 weeks, 5 weeks in December, whatever it is. I'll get started on those. So I stitched part of this at the retreat at East Hill because it was the part I stitched was like all of the straight lines because there's no counting. It's just easy stitching, and that worked out great. My other discovery with this was our 19th anniversary was in October. And so my husband and I had a little getaway to Maine because we were supposed to do this. I wanted to do this in April for my birthday, partly because we have friends in Maine and we share a birthday. So we were going to celebrate in April. And then COVID. And then Massachusetts residents weren't allowed in Maine, right? So finally, after Labor Day, we were allowed to go to Maine, and I made reservations, and we drove up and had a lovely visit. I get to see Helen briefly and do some bargain shopping with her, so that was fantastic. And our friend Patty met us there too, so it was nice to see fellow stitchers, and I can't wait to do it again. But I took this with me, and I was able to stitch on it in the car, which I haven't been able to stitch in the car in a long, long time because I've only been stitching on linen, and I can't do linen in the car. But discovering that I could do the 20 count Aida in the car was a game changer. So I got a lot done on it. during the 3 hours up and the 3 hours back. And then my other whip that I also worked on at the retreat, I started this, I think it was in January or February, because this was going to be the piece that I took with me to Frugal Yankee in March, because it was a lot of filling in. So I had started outlining, and then of course COVID, and so there was no Frugal Yankee. And so I have been kind of filling in parts while we do Zoom stitchy calls. And then I took some of it with me, or I took it with me and stitched on some of it at East Hill. So let me show you what it looks like. I'm not taking it out of the plastic because the cat pooped on the back of it. But this is what it looks like. I'm adding another row of words down here so that it will fit into an 8x10 frame. But I'm loving the colors. It's just very muted. Yeah, I love it. And so let me show you what the other lines will be. Have I started them? No, haven't even started them. All right, never mind. But there's going to be 3 lines of text here. The call for, it's charted with "Let her own works praise her in the city gates," and then the 3rd line that I'm adding, I'm just going to do Proverbs 31, whatever verse it is. So, yeah. And not using called for here at all. In fact, I need to find whatever blue or gray I'm going to use for this, because I haven't decided on that yet, and that could be filled in. So this is a lot of stitching. Like, this took me a whole Friday night call. I think maybe I did the middle and the Friday night call. I worked on the strawberries at East Hill. So probably won't be finished by the end of the year, but not an impossibility. It just depends, I guess, on what I feel like stitching. Right now, I think I've decided I'm not starting anything big because I don't want to carry anything else over into the new year. Right now, I have these 2 projects, and that's fantastic. I would like to be carrying over only the flag. I just don't like to carry a lot of projects over into the new year. So I think what I'm going to be working on now is small ornaments and stuff that I know I can finish between now and December. I have started putting together a list for 2021. That will be a separate video. I am not nearly ready to make a video about that yet, but I've started thinking about it. Have you started thinking about 2021?
Honestly, every time I try to make a list, I have periods where I don't stitch because of school. So I'm just going to wing it.
That's good. Winging it is good as well. All right, so let's talk about East Hill. And I'm going to tell you about it because we're going back. So when we originally planned this, I originally scheduled it in May when we knew that Frugal Yankee wasn't happening. And Frugal Yankee retreat was originally supposed to be in March. We postponed it to May. We knew it wasn't going to happen. And so we scheduled this in November thinking 6 months away, right? Of course life is going to be back to normal in 6 months. Wasn't. So East Hill can accommodate 60 to 90. And I know this because they already host knitting retreats, okay? And so basically East Hill in New Hampshire is a farm. They have the original farmhouse, they have a big dining area, and then they have separate cabins. So the cabins have 2 or 3 bedrooms plus a common living area. And then they have a whole like building that has, I think there's 27, I forget how many, 18 rooms, I think. and they have swimming pools and they have hiking trails, and they overlook, they're right at the foot of Mount Monadnock, and so the scenery is beautiful, and you can go gather your own eggs in the morning and they will make breakfast out of them for you. So it's just a great spot to have a retreat. I had been there right after we got back from Guam for an Arm to Farm program for military spouses and active duty military and veterans. And so that's how I knew East Hill. I didn't know how a stitching retreat would go, right? Because I had never been there. So we booked it in October thinking we were going to have 60 to 90 people. And then COVID, and obviously people had to cancel. Understandable, like there is no judgment. But the great thing about East Hill is that there are these living areas, I guess, like all over. There's at least 2 on the main floor of the main building. There's a great spot in the basement, and all of the individual cabins, like I said, have couches and chairs. And so I knew, for me at least, that I was going anyway, because I knew that there were plenty of areas where I could just like escape to stitch if I wanted to. Well, it turns out that 9 of us went, and we had this huge room to ourselves, so we got to spread out, and it was awesome. I felt very safe. We cracked the windows, we were spread out, it was all good. And the great thing about East Hill is that they feed you. And somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody said, man, you do not need to bring snacks to this retreat because you do not want to eat when it is not mealtime because you are so full. It is just amazing, amazing food. Breakfast was always choice of bacon, sausage, ham, waffles, pancakes, eggs, omelets, like the whole 9 yards. Lunch and dinner always starts with a soup course, and it's homemade soup, and it's great, and they serve you a fritter, which is fantastic. And then they had always a vegetarian option, and then an omnivore, carnivore option for lunch and dinner. And so, and then dessert, of course. Ooh. Yeah, it was so good. So, the other women who went loved it as much as I did. So I felt better knowing that I wasn't being biased. And so we did book dates for November because we are hoping that a year from now, we will be able to have that 60 to 90 person huge retreat, because we have the retreat in New Jersey, right? But there's nothing else in the Northeast for stitchers. And so I really believe that we can sell this thing out and make it an annual event. And what I like is that our hotel room fees go to support a family. It's siblings who now run the inn. Obviously, they've taken a hit during COVID. And so I love the fact that we can also support a small business, a small family farm, while having a great retreat. So we rebooked in November. I will be putting together more information if you are interested. If you are interested, though, what I would encourage you to do is get on Facebook and join the, there's a New England Stitchy Meetups page that I started. I can't even remember the name of it. I will link it below, but that's where I will post the information when we get going. It's looking as if we are going to have a person there. I'm not gonna make any official announcements, but we will have somebody there with lots of fabric and charts and the whole 9 yards. So you will be able to purchase as well, because East Hill is in the middle of nowhere. If you forget a color or whatever, there's no running to Michael's to buy DMC. Like, it's just not happening. So so we're hoping for that. Now, the big stitching room will not accommodate. Oh my gosh, we're gonna run out of time. We're at 29 minutes. All right, join the group. We'll be back shortly, I hope. Hope your Thanksgivings were wonderful. We'll be back before Christmas, right?
I hope.
I hope. All right, so we have 20 seconds before the camera shuts off. I'm glad I looked at the time. So East Hill is going to be fantastic. Oh, I wanted to show these. From Laureen made them for me and gifted them to me. So thank you. They're going on our cross-stitch tree. Do you love it?